What is it, pigeon or?
That was me. I just turned it down.
All set.
All right. So roll call.
Alderman Vitale,
Here.
Grisham,
Here.
Rote,
Here.
Stefanski,
Here.
Reinke.
She's excused at this time.
Okay. 4 present, 1 excused.
So we begin with discussing regarding item 34, 2022 operator license, bartender class D operator application for William Miller. So Mr. Miller, do we need to, I don't need to read that, right? I mean, do you want me to read that, the whole paragraph?
No, I don't believe you have to read that. Is Mr. Mitter available?
I am.
Okay, Ms. Miller, welcome to our License and Health Committee meeting. I believe there's a reason why of your appearance tonight, based on some of the situation that did arise last year.
No,
So
there
you
was
have-
nothing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
This happened 6 years ago.
Okay,
I had a DUI, and I was convicted in February of 2015. Nothing recent, nothing since then.
nothing at all, right? I mean, I believe you-
Nothing at all.
you're clear.
I am completely clean.
Okay, good. So, Assistant City Attorney Serwin, there's nothing else, right? I mean, for us to,
That's correct. As I reported to the committee, there was a 2014, I believe it was a conviction in 2015 OWI. That's the only information I'm aware of. He does have a valid driver's license. That's all the information I have.
yeah. So we need an motion of approval or denial from one of the committee members.
This is only a discussion item, so there's not going to be.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, all right. Okay. Okay, we can, yeah. So
Mr.
there's
Chair-
any discussions from Alderperson Stacy?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Mitter, where will you be working? I was looking for that.
I'll be at Paulie's field trip.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Thank you.
Okay, Paul should be in the meeting as
Yep,
well.
I see him.
Okay.
Hey, okay, Paul. Anything else from the committee members? Any other questions? I believe none. So at this time, we can just
Move
move
on.
ahead and for the next voting sessions.
Thank you, Mr. Mitter.
Okay.
Thank you.
So what happens next? Then we have to come back at a different time? Is that what it is?
No, I think you're done.
The council will be considering your application at its meeting after this. Likely, based on the committee's discussion, it's possibly going to be approved. You can call the clerk's office tomorrow morning.
Okay, and then if something weird would happen, then he has an appeals process to do? Or at this point in time, we're assuming that it's gonna pass?
It's
I-
up to the committee, or the council, if it does get approved. It sounds like the discussion is favorable at this point. But if you guys disagree with what the council has decided, then ultimately there is some remedy for you, but we weren't going to be able to advise you legally how to proceed against the city at this point. You guys have to sort that one out, okay?
Sure, yeah, I've had weird, I mean, Bill's a good guy. He's a little bit older than me, right, Bill? I don't know if he can hear me. But I've had in the past where people have made errors and Bill is obviously a very good member of the community. His wife's a teacher, so I just want to make sure that everything's all right with him. He's in the process of getting a contract work job. So this kind of helps him out through the COVID and everything too. So.
Yeah, I don't see any, I mean, like I say, still gonna be, come forward to the council for final decision, but for the, for what I seen, from the committee members, should not be really any objections, on our
Awesome.
side, Okay, Paul?
Okay, sounds
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you very much. Have a great night.
You too.
Thank you.
Bill, you too. Thank you.
Thank
Sure.
you.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
So now we need item 35. 2021-007 and 2022 operator license bartender class D operator application for Heather G. Bonasak. So any discussions? I don't see any really specific records. Nick, you have anything?
I believe these records were sent out in December.
Yes.
Miss Bosanak,
It's Bosonic.
Bosonic, I'm sorry, thank you.
Yeah, that's okay.
I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. I was muted the whole time and I didn't realize it. So
Sure.
I believe the rationale, without going through the entirety of what is referenced, I think the rationale listed last time was related to some drug interactions in 2004, 2015, and 2015.
Yeah, it's been, I believe, over 5 years already, so I don't know, any questions from the committee members?
Mr. Chairman, Roach,
Yes, Mr.
Yes,
Alderman Road.
could you explain those two incidents, the 2015 and the 2005? Was there any time done?
yeah, I served a year at the House of Corrections, and that was, I thought it was longer than 5. I thought it was almost actually 7 years when that happened, because I received it. I thought it was in 2013. I could be wrong, but when the charge initiated to begin with. But yeah, I did a year, and I was working in Brookfield for a while when I got out, and recently received my bartending license through them. And then when COVID happened, I just went elsewhere for a job, and then I had to do the whole thing over again with West Dallas. So,
and this would be your opportunity. And so this was initially considered for denial, and this is your opportunity at this point to kind of inform the committee what's changed, why it's different now, why they shouldn't be concerned.
Sure. Well, it hasn't been a concern since, when I went to jail and got out. I mean, this was well over, like he said, 5 years ago. It turned my life around. That's really it. I had to go in front of a committee also with Brookfield. And really it was it was similar, but it was not virtual, and same thing. I've been working, staying out of trouble. Obviously, I don't, do drugs. I enjoy my job. I love it. So,
May I ask you, do you have other employments this time, or?
I just work at Applebee's. I'm a bartender and server there. So.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
Mr. Chair, if I could ask a question, just maybe to help.
Yeah.
the committee.
Sure.
Was there any, did you do any treatment or anything along those lines with those other convictions?
I did when I was incarcerated. Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
And you successfully completed that?
that is correct.
All right.
I'm sorry that I didn't have any certification things. I didn't really think that I needed. I wouldn't even know where all that stuff is, but.
Did you have any term of probation along with those convictions?
No.
Okay.
No. I didn't need to complete any probation. It was just a sentence that I did, and then at that point, once it was over, it was over.
Very good.
Yes.
I have no further questions, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah, go ahead, Alderman Road.
this was possession of what? This had to be more than possession of pot, correct?
Yes, it was possession of narcotics. It was some Percocet pills. It was, yeah, it was medication. Mhm.
And
Any other questions? Oh, go ahead.
And were you selling, or was this for personal use?
It was personal use. Yeah. I had a prescription as well, but there was more than what I had, of mine. So, at the time it was, it's a point in my life that I'm happy to be done with, so. happy to move forward. I have, and just want to keep going. That's all. Little bumps in the road.
Alderman Road, do you have any further
Oh, no,
questions?
I'm sorry.
No,
Thank
I
you,
don't-
Alderman.
So any other alder persons within our committee here have any questions?
Nope, I'm good.
We're good? Everybody's good?
I'm good.
So we'll be voting at the council floor tonight for the approval or disapproval of the licensee. for
And
Miss-
Mr. Chair, may
Yes.
I have a moment? I just want to put this out there for those that
Sure.
are attending here, being we can't put a vote to this until our next meeting.
Yes, of
The
course.
purpose in you having being called in was to establish that there was reasonable rehabilitation that does not impact the functions of your job or ability to bartend. So we can't make that decision right now, but we will make that decision on vote with our next meeting. And I appreciate that you came forward. I believe that you have met the criteria in which we could vote yes. And if you'd like to tune into that next time, you can, but we basically are calling you in just for that explanation more so than anything. And I appreciate your candor and that you were forthcoming.
Thank you.
And we'll
You're
be
welcome.
making that decision tonight at the 7 o'clock meeting.
Yes.
Oh, thank you for the correction.
See-
We will be
see-
making that decision later.
Yeah, and I would like to say that I hope, if you get the license approved, I hope we won't see you, back to the license and health committee for any other reasons. I hope everything
Right.
going well for you, I mean, I know
Oh,
you
everything's
you
going
really-
great. Yeah.
you do experience and things happens in life on many people,
Sure.
Today's standard, I mean, it occurs a lot, so which is not the right thing, but so I wish you the best for you, so
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
thank you to
You
come
too.
forward. Thank you again.
You're welcome.
Okay, then we move on to item 36. 2022 operator license bartender class D operator applications for Agent R Can 2. Can 2. So this person is going to be appearing, Attorney Sherwin?
I believe he was on earlier. Mr. Cantu, are you available?
Yes. So isn't he, I don't think there's much for him either, right? No records. I mean, he has a few things that happens.
Mr. Chair, I can make a quick record of that. And then just to reiterate, Mr. Cantu, this is your opportunity to explain to the committee anything that would help your case to get the license that you're looking for in terms of rehabilitation or things that have changed in your life since some potential convictions. Mr. Chair, the committee initially denied this application based on, sorry, I have a few spreadsheets open. I believe there was 2 operate motor vehicles without owner's consent. They were in 2004, so 16 years ago. One of the things that can successfully show rehabilitation is completion of probation. However, per CCAP, I believe that is not possible in this case to show that. Mr. Cantu, do you have anything to add? You're on mute. You're on mute, sir. You're on mute.
Sir, can you hear us?
I'm mute. Can
There
you
you
hear me
go.
now?
Well, there you are.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, Adrian, so you know why you're here in front of us, right? We appreciate that you came forward this time, So
Yes, sir.
go ahead. Tell
I
us,
actually
Sorry.
I did successfully complete. At the time I did not. When I was released, I did go on the run, and it did catch up to me, which I was proud of. That was fine by me. I did my time. I was incarcerated. They sentenced me back to the original sentence, which I did successfully complete. Since then, I've had a daughter. I've been a manager. I worked at 5 years at Quad Graphics at the local plant here in West Dallas, right there on Highway 100. While I was at Quad Graphics for those 4 or 5 years, I became a medical responder on site. So, but yeah, no, I did successfully complete all terms of probation and parole.
So you're not an employee anymore at the quad, right? You're not there anymore.
No,
right?
that's been a while. Actually, I left for health reasons. While there, I managed to get asthma due to the high amount of dust. So rather than spend my nights, gagging for air or, trying to get air and take care of my daughter, I left and got my health back in order where I needed it to, where I didn't have to be dependent on a inhaler, steroid pills, or any of that stuff that I was prescribed at the time of my employment with them.
So you have other full-time employment right now, or?
I do.
You do? Okay. So is within the city of West Dallas, or?
I think it would be Milwaukee. I work off of Highway 100 and what is that? Barley?
Yeah, of course it's Milwaukee, yes, or yeah, I could go west, and of course that's Wauwatosa, west of it, yeah. So, so many months did you serve in county?
When I was reincarcerated for some other stuff, I did a year. Then I was extradited to Racine, where I later went in front of a judge. They ran my sentence concurrent from 04 with what I recently had a couple years back. So when they ran it all concurrent, the 3.5 years was ran with 6.5, and I successfully completed all 6.5 years. My release was September, what was that, 15th?
Yes, 15.
Yep, and that was of 2016, I believe. So I've been off for quite some time now.
So you have been clear, actually, of anything,
Yeah, I put all that stuff behind me, had a daughter, and now I'm just looking, to bartend as far as terms of extra money.
So myself, I mean, I talked to myself about, I don't care if we have do you have a driver license, or you just taking a bus?
I don't take either like a Uber or a Lyft. Anywhere I gotta go, I normally just stay close to where I live at, so that way I don't have to worry about nothing. I currently, with all of this whole COVID thing, I try to do online ordering if I can get it delivered. If not, then I just Uber or Lyft to where I gotta go and back.
So you don't have no driver license at this time,
No,
right?
no.
Okay. Which that's fine, I mean, the way you say you came here, I mean, you are online tonight. But say if you came in front of us, not virtual, then it would be the same thing. I don't really care how you came to us, So the questions it is, that's nice you came forward to give us some updates of your background and in your life. So hope you really straighten yourself out the way you sound,
Oh, I did. Actually, prior to me being released from probation and parole, I actually lost my grandfather due to diabetes. He was a double amputee, and at the time, I wasn't able to go to the funeral, and that really kind of woke me up more. I was like, okay, I need to, get my life back on the right track. So that definitely inspired me to help move forward in life, do more positive things. I've also became a I wouldn't say a member, but I know a lot of people in the Muslim community. We do a lot of outreach stuff with the homeless. We try to get back to community as well.
So thank you. I would like to ask any committee members if they have any questions. To
Mr.
add.
Chair,
Yes, Alderman.
I
Sure.
believe this also fits the criteria of reasonable rehabilitation, and
Yes.
I thank you for coming before council.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yep, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Adrian. So tonight we'll be acting on, the entire council will be voting on, okay?
Okay.
Thank
Now,
you.
quick question. When will I hear of approval?
If it gets approved tonight, you can call the clerk office tomorrow and you can get your license tomorrow.
Okay, well, how
gets
would I know
approved.
that it gets approved is what I'm asking.
Well,
you
tonight
can-
is gonna be in front of the council for us
Okay.
to act. The entire council will be 10 older persons which
Okay.
they'll make the final decisions on, to disapprove it or approve it.
You can actually watch it live on YouTube if you want on the West Dallas City YouTube channel. And we'll vote on it during that meeting. And then you'll know right then and there. Otherwise, you can just call City Hall tomorrow and ask them if it got approved or not.
Yes.
And so you said West Dallas Committee?
No, the West Dallas City YouTube channel.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we start a common council meeting. You'll see that,
Okay.
Okay, starts at 6:30, 6:15.
Seven. 7.
7. Okay.
All right.
It
Thank you
shows-
again.
Okay, thank you for coming in.
Yes, sir. And y'all have a good night, and I do wish
too.
y'all the best for the new holidays.
Okay, happy New Year.
Same to you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Mr.
Okay,
Chairman?
Yes,
Mr. Chair- Yeah, it's 6:30, Tracy.
yeah, the council meeting is 6:30 tonight.
It is. I thought it was 6:30 was the administration finance meeting.
No,
No,
I believe-
that's 6:15.
Oh, sorry, my
6:15.
mistake.
We're
6:30.
packing a lot in tonight, Tracy.
That's okay, Tracy. You make me look good anyway.
I just go from one meeting to the other, so it's
I'm
okay.
just kidding. That's why we're doing fine. But anyway, let's move on to item 37. That's the 2020-21 adult oriented establishment operator permits applications for Samara D. Benz. So she's around, Attorney Serwin. Do we need to have her be on the video conference, or we don't need to?
Ms. Beans, are you available? I'm not sure if she has made an appearance or not. I will just make a brief record that, if that's okay, Mr. Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
So the only thing here is this is for an adult-oriented establishment license. Ms. Beans has a driving record, including 2016 reckless driving, 18 speeding, 19 imprudent speed, 19 deviating from lane, 19 operating while suspended, no insurance in 19, and then operating while suspended in 2020. She is suspended right now. I would caution the committee from looking too closely into driving violations unless they substantially relate to licensed activity.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, go ahead, Alderman Suzette.
Thank you, City Attorney Serwin, for the explanation. I think going forward, I just need to put this out there. And this is collectively, be aware of why we're doing soft denials, knowing that it isn't relative really to the function of their licensing. So whether it be, 8 years, 10 years of an OWI, or in this instance, calling somebody in based on their driving record, unless they have criminal activity, we don't know how they're going to get to work. That's not our jobs to determine that part of it. And I guess I just wanted to put that out there publicly, that we think of that before we're bringing in people in, that basically we're just going to ask them, have you rehabilitated? As the law is written as such, keep in mind, when you have an OWI and you have a license and we're reading that, obviously you've met the criteria of rehabilitation, because you can't get your license back until you meet this criteria. So I guess I'm just going to point this out as a committee member, that when we're looking at calling these people in to ask for an explanation, we're just basically approving them anyhow, because we don't really have basis to deny them. So without me running on too much, I just wanted to point that out, because that will also save our time through our meetings as to who we're calling in and why we're calling them in. So
Yeah, that's
pretty much all
my questions that I had too, like I say, I don't care how the person gets by us, when they're scheduled to show up, for any, if it's related to driving, well, really, to me, I can't deny the license based on that,
Right. And we just have to be mindful, I guess, going forward as to, or at least think about how we're bringing people in and
Yes.
why we're bringing them in.
Yes. So any further questions from our committee members this time? No further questions?
Nope, I'm good.
So we should, still is going to be coming from the council tonight just as well, right? So,
Correct.
So Attorney Serwin, what do you think? We should be, we should move forward with that, right?
It's up
based
to the
on,
committee. It's up to the committee completely, however you want to proceed. I would just caution the committee when making a denial of a license, it has to substantially relate to the license
the
activity.
license, that's what it is. So,
The
so let's,
record. And so I just make that, if you're going to deny an individual, make the record of why it would substantially relate, and then we are A-okay. Or
so I appreciate it because I always felt that way, you know, so let's move on with the item 38 is 2021 Class AB license application, Greeby Bakery Incorporation, Brenton T. Greeby, agent at DBA Greeby Bakery for the premise located at 5132 West Lincoln Avenue, new non-existing location.
Mr.
Okay,
Chair, could I
Go ahead.
jump in? Thank you. Mr. Brandon Greeby, are you on this call?
I am.
All right, very good. Thank you for appearing. I had a chance to speak, at least email the committee, and then also speak with Mr. Greeby. And so I wanted to highlight, at least just to streamline maybe the conversation here on what the potential options might be. So this is a Class A beer license application, meaning the intent or the ability granted through the license would be to sell beer in closed containers for consumption off premises, not on premises. It's not a bar, it's off premises. If this were to be granted, there are two options in granting it. And you have my email on that one. But number one is going to be granted as normal. If you grant it as normal, it would be a year-long license that would have to, well, at this point, it's only 6 months because the license period is from, I say, July 1st through the next year to July 30. Or
I thought it's from May, right? May.
It's July to June.
Okay.
And so right now there's about 6 months left on the current license period. So that's option one. If you do grant it without any conditions in place, it becomes a property interest and somebody could reestablish that license by a renewal application next license period. The other option might be, and this was spurred on because I believe at least my initial understanding of this process is kind of a finite time that Mr. Greeby initially thought he wanted to sell or try to sell alcohol. What we could do, what the committee could do, is approve it, but with a negotiated condition of a voluntary letter of surrender that would be pre-signed and predated and provided to the clerk's office in the city. That would basically be the date that Mr. Greeby would say, hey, I want to be able to try to do this from now until X date, and I will surrender my license, or it is surrendered as of that X date. If that occurs after the next license period, he would still have to reapply for that license. It would be a renewal, but he would have to pay the secondary fee, everything that go with it, but he would still have surrendered it as of X date, whatever that might be. And so I can answer questions on those if anybody has questions. If people have questions for Mr. Greeby, he's on the line. When I did speak with him, he had, I think he presented himself really well and can probably speak to what he's intending to do better.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Alderman Road, go ahead.
this would be for Mr. Greeby or Attorney Sherwin. During this time frame, the option 2, are you just going to be selling the Cruller beer, or can I go in there and get a 12-pack of Miller Lite also?
No,
I
it
don't
would just
think
be
so,
for
no.
the crawler beer.
Okay, and that would be written out in the agreement prior to, I'm guessing, Nick?
The committee can try to negotiate for those terms. If not negotiated for, yes, this would be a Class B license for whatever beer or fermented malt beverage you wanted to sell. It's not, we can try to tie him to something if the committee would like.
Well, I'm only one on the committee, but I would like that. For just the one beer brand only.
Mr. Chair,
Yes. Alderman-
I would agree with Alderman Road on this. I think otherwise we're looking at if we don't put something in to stipulate that, then we would have difficulty coming back and revoking it. And that was the understanding that I had if we vote just for the liquor license without any stipulations on that. So I would agree with Alderman Road on that.
Chair,
Yes, Alderman Stacy.
I'm also in agreement with Alderman Rote. I had talked to Brandon briefly about this because I was curious as to how we were putting beer in a bakery, and he gave me a great explanation of it, and I appreciate that. And if we can, if we can work with Brandon and have it be just basically worded for the crawler beer with a date, I'd be happy with that.
And I agree with all of you guys. I want to first apologize. I didn't realize it was such a process to do this. I just simply want to do a crawler beer. So whatever you guys are okay with how to make this work, I am perfectly fine with it. We just want to do a fun little marketing thing, and that's all I want to do.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
again, Brandon, I don't know what's going on in the process sometimes too, so it's kind of interesting what we learn as we go. So appreciate
Absolutely.
you coming forward, and I wish you the best with the crawler beer,
Thank you.
if it passes, of course.
If it passes.
Yes.
So
Brandon, real quick, how long do you figure until you would sell out?
Right now the plan is majority of the sales will be done, if not all the sales will be done at East Troy Brewery. We're just gonna throw a few 12 packs in our store here, and just for our customers that come in and use it as a marketing thing. So we don't anticipate selling large volumes. We don't have any set amounts that we need / want to sell.
And is this going to be a continued flavor, or is it going to be just you're doing this for a short time and then?
Just a short time. Initially, when I didn't realize the process on this. Initially, towards the end of summer, beginning of fall, this was supposed to be for the holidays. We just wanted to do something in December, and that was it. But then once I got into this and realized the process to it, realized that wasn't the case. We couldn't do it that way. So right now, the product is already made. So if you guys say no, that's fine. I can still do it with East Troy. But if it is granted, yeah, we'll try to do something here for a month period and see what happens.
Okay, thank you.
Brandon,
Yes,
are you the son of Jim or the grandson?
I am the grandson to Jim Sr. and son to Jim Jr.
I know, I figured that because
Yep.
I know your grandpa. Well, I know your dad too, you know.
Yep.
I know him pretty good. Well-established business for many years, you know. It's going to be close to 100 years now, right?
Yeah,
Gonna
we're
be
it's about 83 years. Yes.
83 years. Yes,
Yeah, I think we've been in West Dallas since the early 50s, I believe.
yes, you bet. So again, I have no problem with that really, because it's been established business for many years on the east side here in West Dallas. To me, always been good neighbor operation there. You know, I think so I'm in favor for it. So we'll see what happens tonight on a final decision by the entirety of the Common Council. Okay, Brandon?
Good, sounds good. Appreciate
Thank
it,
you
guys.
again, and take care.
just wait, Mr. Greavy.
Yes.
Can you hear me or not?
Go ahead, Nick. I was hold for you.
We got Alderman Cale Baker now. Go ahead.
I just wanted to make sure that the applicant, before he leaves, that there's a good understanding of what's going to happen tonight. Because the council will be voting on this item tonight, and I want to make sure that, are you on a timeline, Mr. Greavy, to have this approved as soon as possible?
Like I mentioned, that the timeline's kind of passed for the holidays. So, let's say you guys don't pass it tonight, I would definitely be looking at doing this again for the holidays, the end of 2021. But if there is a chance it can happen now, I will try to make it do something during these slow times for us.
So there's two ways this could work. If you want the time to amend your application to include some of these stipulations with your own verbiage, you can do that. Otherwise, the council could tonight just impose some language upon the application, and then you'd have to either take it or leave it. So is there anything, how would you prefer to do it?
That's fine. You guys can put some language in there and I'll be okay with that. I understand what you guys are looking for and I'm okay with that.
Very good.
And
Thank
then, Mr. Chair, if I could, and while Cale is on the line,
Yes.
If we proceed tonight, or if the committee proceeds tonight, it should have the language that it would be, and I know we don't like this language, but subject to this signed surrender, if that's the committee's position on it, being in hand prior to the license being issued. It would also probably be one that we want to review in the city attorney's office first, just to make sure it has all the requirements that we would want. And then Mr. Greeby, I guess what I wanted to check with you on a date that you thought that a voluntary surrender might be something you'd be interested in complying with. From a practical standpoint, if you do it prior to the new license period, you can always still apply for the next license period if you want to, if you're looking for that holiday process, which kind of outlined already earlier.
Yes.
But you'd have to go through it all again. Either way, if you want a license after July 1st, you're going to have to put in a new application and a new fee for that.
Mhm.
Unless it is approved today outright, you'd still have to reapply again for a renewal though.
Understood. As far as timeline, I don't have one at this moment. I have to go over with the brewery on that, but yeah, I'm okay.
If they made it, I mean, I'm just trying to make sure that it's on both sides here. So if they made it till May at some point, would that be functional for you?
Oh, yeah, I'd be 100% with that. Yeah, not a problem.
I don't know if that's a timeline the committee is looking at. If the committee has any other input beyond limiting to the specific Greeby's related beer or a timeline, that would be helpful.
So,
Mr. Chair,
yeah, go ahead.
um,
Person question.
May would be fine, but I'm a bit confused. I just need some clarity. Mr. Greeby did not make a certain proposal to change in the verbiage and is leaving it on us. Do we look to amend the current request and call for that before vote or at the time of vote? Okay, so one of us on committee has to make that amendment, and how then would it be worded? Is this what we're coming to right now? We're looking at a delay with that certain verbiage saying it's going to only be for a temporary 30-day type of thing. I guess I'm needing direction on how we're going to amend this.
Sure.
Yeah, Nick, I have a question. The fact is, if Mr. Greeby is willing to follow through with the entire period of the license, so why I mean, he have to more or less surrender his license. Why can't he come then for renewal, just like any other operations, any business within our city here? Why he can come forward, just to renew it if he wishes,
I'll answer Alderman Vitale's question first, and then I'll answer Alderperson's question.
Okay, great.
Alderperson Vitale is a little bit shorter. And so if that was one of the two options, you could grant it like a normal license without conditions on it, but that would create that property interest then. And so going forward on a renewal time, on July 1st, the committee would have the renewal if Mr. Greeby wants to proceed in that. And once there's a property interest there, the only way we can take it away is if there's a revocation hearing or he has a non-renewal. Okay, so that would be it.
Yeah.
So it's up to the committee if that's the route you want to go, where this is creating an ongoing Class A at the bakery, or if you want it to be, I don't like the word temporary in this circumstance, but if you want it to be, because there's a license for a temporary Class B which is different. But if you want to have it a limited capacity where somebody would surrender it, that's the other option, where it's a finite amount of time.
But myself, I feel that the C, way to really follow, to me, I mean, the way it's open, if you want to surrender his license a year from now, when the license is due, I mean, he should have the rights to do that, and that's over. But if you want to renew it, it should be treated, I believe, just like any other business. I mean, I don't want to put him a guideline, say in 6 months, or you have to surrender your license. I mean, I don't think we want to do that, right? I mean, that's my opinion.
Certainly up to the committee. And then Alderperson Grisham, to answer your question about verbiage, how I would propose that be done is to amend the license let me get the exact language here, that Greeby's Bakery Inc. by agent Brandon T. Greeby voluntarily agrees to surrender the license on X date, as the committee has discussed. Mr. Greeby doesn't have a proposed date at this point in time. I would ask that be eventually put in writing by Mr. Greeby that he would verbally surrender, or he would surrender that license on X date. And then in terms of the beer being sold, to add a condition to the license limiting the fermented malt beverage to be, and I guess this is going to be up to Mr. Greeby as well, whether it be Greeby Bakery specific recipes or blends, or one where Greeby Bakery is involved in the ingredients. It's up to the committee how you want to identify that, and Mr. Greeby might have a better opportunity or a better option to clarify that language.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, go ahead, Rebecca.
might I suggest that Mr. Greeby makes the amendment to his application at the committee, so there's a consensus before it goes to the council, and that way an amendment would not have to occur on the council floor. So I believe Mr. Greeby has some idea of what the amendments could be based on what Attorney Serwin just mentioned. So that might be a better way to resolve this at this point, but that's just my suggestion.
Well, I
Thank you,
think-
Rebecca. I agree on that one.
Yes, I agree on that too, really, I do. I think that's the way to go.
All right, so you guys want to come up or a date or period of when it could end? Is that what you're suggesting?
Well, Mr. Chair,
Yes,
it would be, the other thing would be specifying, the main thing is specifying that it's just the beer that's a promotional thing for your crawler
your
beers.
establishment, yes.
So that we wouldn't have to worry about any other types of beer coming in being sold.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Rebecca.
So basically, Mr. Greeby could say that he is going to surrender his license as of a certain date, and he is only going to be serving this type of beer. He can say that here, and he can send me an email, and that would be amending the application.
Is Mr. Greeby still there, right?
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm still here. I was just writing that
Yeah.
down. Do you want me to send you an
So
email?
you're willing to do that for what you heard, right?
Yeah. Like I said, I want this to be as easy as possible. And
Yes.
whatever you guys are requiring, I'm okay with it, because I don't want to didn't want to make this a big old deal. So simple as possible.
You're just like your grandpa, same thing, the way you
Yep.
talk.
What's up, Mr.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chair,
Mr.
step
Chairman.
one.
Go ahead.
Mr.
Go
Greeby,
ahead.
are you agreeing that a condition of a license would be to sell only Greeby Bakery promotional beer?
Absolutely.
All right, is that language that the committee is comfortable with, or is there some more specific type language that you would want to have utilized?
I am
I'm fine with
comfortable
that.
with it. Now we just need an end date, correct?
I'm good with that. Yeah.
Okay, and Mr. Greeby, then, do you have a date in mind whereby if the committee doesn't approve it outright, that you would surrender the license for this initial attempt at this promotional beer sales?
Do we do the end of March? Is that fair?
Does that, Mr. Chair,
Yes, Alderman
does
Rhodes.
that give you enough time, Mr. Greeby?
Yes.
I'm fine with that. If that works for you, I'm absolutely fine with March. I don't
Miss-
speak for the committee, but go ahead.
Mr.
Right.
Greeby, I have a question for you. Being this is kind of an idea and its success may be good for you. Did you want to extend that past March? You have the floor to at least discuss that.
Well, I would love to. I just don't want to, I guess, take too much and you guys turn it
No,
down.
no, and that's why I brought that up. I want you
Yeah.
to just be forthcoming. That doesn't give you much time. And as a
No, it
business owner, I would
does.
look at maybe you would want a little bit more time to really find the success of this proposal.
Yeah, I mean,
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Alderman.
I have no
Rhodes.
problem. And again, I'm just one voice here. I have no problem letting him run the table till June 30th, till the license up. Then it just automatically goes away.
Very good
yeah,
statements, Alderman
I'm
Rhodes.
good with that too.
That
Like
would be
I
the
said before, my biggest concern was other types of beer. And if we limit it to that, I'd be fine with going till the end of the license term.
Okay.
It would still be a voluntary surrender as of then
June 30th?
June 30th,
Yes.
Perfect.
2021. Mr. Grebe certainly could at that point still reapply for a new license if he so chooses, and if everything goes well, it's up to the committee, however they want to proceed. It would be a new license application then, though. Is everybody under the same understanding?
I
Yes.
believe myself, I feel that way. Then he should be able, if he wish to renew it, I mean, he should come forward and reapply again. To me, that's a proper way to handle. If he wants to renter the license, like I said early, well, then that's his rights, you know. So
Mr. Grebe, is that something, are those two conditions something you're comfortable with?
Yep. 100% perfect. Yep. I'm good.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Rosalie,
this Alderman Ranky, fine.
yes.
Thank you. I finally got it working. Mr. Grebe has always been a good corporate partner with West Allis, and I appreciate his business very definitely. However, I have to insert that basically we're opening Pandora's box here. If the rest of the committee members can recall when we gave the gas stations licenses. Now we're opening the box to a bakery. Does that mean that possibly other bakeries would want to do this same thing? This is a concern of mine because I don't think beer belongs in a bakery. I can understand where Mr. Grebe has a special interest in this, and I approve. However, I'm a lot concerned about the idea that other bakeries will also come aboard and want a license. Has the committee had any consideration for this?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Alderman Christian.
Alderwoman Ranky, I was really on the fence with this, and I just want to point out my point of view on it. I agree with you when it comes to kind of the stance we've taken with gas stations. I think the reason why we're approaching this as we are with an automatic surrendering of the license and this specific language as to what is being sold, that this, and not granting that this is a reoccurring license. These stipulations are put forth for that specific reason. That way other bakeries and businesses can't come forward and say, okay, like they have in other instances, well, you gave Quick Trip a license, why can't I have one? That's just my personal stance. I believe Brandon has come forward to express that this is a crawler flavored beer from a brewery that he wants to just try out specific to his business. He's not loading the coolers with all types of beers. I guess in looking at your opinion on this too, I shared that, you know, do I go in and buy a dozen donuts and a 6-pack of beer? And it doesn't sound like it sounds right. However, in support of a local business and trying this particular item with surrendering of a license right after, I think it makes perfect sense. I was confused at first too. And keep in mind, the bakery doesn't only sell the bakery. They also, I thought about it, you know, you go to a lot of businesses and you want hot ham and rolls on Sunday, or you want sandwiches. And that actually does make sense that somebody would say, okay, well, I'm here. I could purchase this beer and give that a go. So without being too long-winded, I shared your sentiment, and I just wanted to point out these specific things are being put in place so we're not in that position in the future.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I totally agree with you, and I commend Brendan for thinking out of the box. I mean, I think it's a really unique idea. However, I just wanted to make the committee aware that maybe there is a drawback to something like this, only in consideration of the other bakeries that will possibly try to do something of this kind. That's all. No, I approve of the number 2 as the committee has basically agreed on with the consensus that they've made. And I approve. However, I just want to caution the committee that hopefully we won't get other bakeries coming forth with this kind of proposal that we also give them a beer license.
Alderman, Attorney Serwin?
Thank you. And I just want to clarify that real quick. On the training we did earlier in May of this year, or last year, each new application is going to be considered on its own merits. And there's a lot of other rationale where we could deny a license, even if it is another bakery. So I just want to make sure we don't go too far down that rabbit hole, because there is case law to support distinct review of each license. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Serwin. I appreciate that. But the Rosalie, Alderperson Rosalie Reinke, the fact is that we don't really have, a lot of bakery really in West Dallas. I think we can count by fingers really how many bakeries we do have, So like I say, if you take Pick and Save, but already they sell liquor, many of the grocers stores, they already sell wine, beers, and alcohol just as well. So we don't really have, I think, the abundance or the percentage of bakery in West Dallas, really. And then again, we put in guidelines on the applications, Mr. Greeby. So like Attorney Serwin says, we can always use guidelines if somebody come forward, So we're not just going to give a license without look into it, Thank you. Go ahead.
I'll go one step further than Attorney Serwin did and say that if you want to use this as a pilot program, that is perfectly acceptable. Another applicant with identical qualifications and criteria could come up and you could just simply decline that and saying, no, we're going to go with this test one first. And that is perfectly fine. And the city will, our office will defend that decision.
Yes, very good. Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Keeping in line to our timing, I just want to get clarification that we are going, Mr. Greeby did make an amendment to his request. This is going to be on a temporary basis and the license automatically surrenders June 30th, correct? Okay. All right. I have
Then
no
he
more.
can come forward. Then he can come forward for renewal if he wishes.
He can come forward for a new application if he wishes. It would
Yes.
not be a renewal.
Right.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Greeby.
All right, thank you
Thank
guys,
Mr.
appreciate
Greeby.
it.
Have a good night. Hey,
Have a
take
good
care.
night.
of yourself.
Mr. Gravy, we appreciate your business.
Thank you guys.
All right, let's move on item 39, license applications.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I think I don't know that we're going person by person, but I would approve Bear, Lawrenson, New, Roth, and Walls.
Okay.
Actually, Lawrenson, I'd like to have a little bit of conversation with, and deny Budzuski. I pronounced it wrong.
Denies
Budzuski.
Budzuski and Daniel Church, Dustin. Denied.
Yes. So we're gonna. I'm looking at approving Bar, Church, New, Roth, Walls,
Okay.
and soft denial on Budzuski.
So denial is 1, 2.
Just one denial, but I would like to have advisement and guidance from our city attorneys on Lawrenson. I have concern with his the driving charge, I believe that he has, but he has other charges too. So I guess that would be the one I question most.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
thank you.
Attorney Serwin.
For Brian Lawrenson, he does have an OWI in 2014. Implied consent is the same as an OWI in terms of how it is counted. And so that is just one OWI, even though it looks like it's counted twice. So there's an OWI in 2014. He also has a theft ticket from 2000 and a 2004 exposing genitals of a child, 2 misdemeanor counts of that. And then that's the same OWI again. There is a resisting or obstructing citation that accompanied that OWI. Is the question how the committee could or should analyze that?
Yes.
On any conviction, unless it is a conviction that is identified as an exempt conviction, which may be the case on another applicant down below, unless we can substantially tie it to the license activity, we should not consider that in terms of denying a license. The way the statute is now written and the change to the statutes, it implies that the license should be granted. These are shall issue licenses unless there is a bar or a prohibition. And then even at that point, the committee would have to jump a hurdle and show why it substantially relates. And then even after that, there's another hurdle where the individual could come in and say why they have reached rehabilitation.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I thought you finished.
Should be a few things. One of them or two of them could be a person explaining how they've changed or the time that's passed, and that's kind of what's happened so far today. It is certainly up to the committee, however you want to phrase something that you think a conviction would substantially relate. Be creative if you want, but that is up to the committee to make that record. I just advise you on the legality of your record or what you're.
Okay. Nick, I have one question further. Can you again say, I don't have my page open, when was his conviction of the OWI and is he licensed?
OWI is 2014, and it says, at least the information that was provided to me, is he was valid.
Okay, so that would mean that he had gone through the rehabilitation process for that, which I would directly relate to his licensing. So I don't think that we really have anything that would substantiate denial.
So what about you, Jessica?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
We're jumping around here. Can we just take them one at a time? Like start from the top?
I agree with you.
Thank you. Because Jamie Barr has either 2 or 3 DUIs, correct, Nick?
2 OWIs that I believe it's only 2. 3 OWIs.
Okay. I'd like to see him. Or can we deny right now?
It could be a soft denial right now if that's what the committee wants to do. He is valid at this point in time.
I'm moving for a soft denial with 3 OWIs.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead, I'll Professor Christian.
Okay, now Alderman Road, I just want to bring this up. When was the OWIs? Even now, I'm going to point out, yes, there's 3. But what we found in each of our meetings thus far, based on the law, we can bring them in. And if he has even had 3 WIs, if he has demonstrated that he is rehabilitated, which, like I said, the point I'm trying to make is if you have an OWI, you have to fit a criteria of counseling, other things to rehabilitate in order to even get your license back, especially with 3. So I guess I'm cautioning the fact that we're bringing in people, even though it sounds so, okay, it's very severe OWIs. But if we're talking in a matter of how many years was it since those OWIs, we have to look at that collectively.
Well, let's
as a
find out from our attorney Serwin when the dates were this occur, because that's the way we can make a better decisions on it, really.
Right.
1999, 2000, and 2001.
So to me, it's really unrealistic to really still condone a person, really. It's been so many years already, So I it's pretty hard for me really to deny him, a license, if it had more severe records or what that happened 2 months ago, then I'd be more skeptical about it, But we're talking about a long time ago, many people, they do more crime worse than this guy here. They're out on the street, they would,
and Mr. Chair, if I may add to that, I'm listening to Attorney Decker and Serwin when they're giving us advisement as to how we proceed, that we kind of take that cue and follow it. Is this defendable by law? So we can bring them in all we want because we want to be curious as to what happened and if they really rehabilitated, but will it warrant 19 years ago, you had a drunk driving, or even 3 for that matter. And we may not like the idea that that had happened, but do we really stand a leg and can we defend that? So that's really what I'm pointing out. I don't like to see anybody have 3 drunk drivings either, but is it really purposeful knowing how that law is enacted and how we have to judge that? And that we're just being more mindful of it because we're pulling people in that are basically going to tell us they rehabilitated. And then in turn, we're going to say, okay, we can't deny your license because we can't defend it. So that's really my point. I don't want to waste any more time of it. Everybody has a right to their opinion on it. I just wanted to bring that up. So we look at that. I would look more at a current charge of an OWI, not 20 years old.
Yeah. So Alderman Road, you made the motion, but what would you
Mr.
like
Chair,
to?
we're not making motions at this point. I'm sorry. This is just the discussion item.
Yeah, I see. I heard it made an emotion. That's why, but I don't think it's so. But let's move on now.
Well,
Yes,
I'd like to see how he's rehabilitated then.
Well, I mean, Alderman Road. I don't know if if the
Okay.
committee wishes to have him come forward, but this occurred actually a long time ago. I'm not going to myself really feel we should waste time on someone that really probably went through rehabilitation back then. That's a long time ago. If it was like I said, in the fall, of 2020, or spring, and within the last 2-3 years, he had 3 of them within, say, 14 months. Well, then I'd be really says, I don't think this guy deserves to have a license to be behind a bar. Like I said, if it's all related to drunk driving, but if it's related for other issue of driving, he had 3-4 accidents. He had his license taken away for other reasons, I'm not going to, because it's not related to the license that we issue in West Dallas here, that's the way I look at it.
Mr. Chair, since this is just on the discussion item, maybe we have a general consensus of how people want to proceed. There's not going to be a vote, and then we can move on to the next person to make sure we
Yeah,
get.
let's go. Let's move on. So let's move on with Mr. Budzinski, Daniel.
I move to deny. He has 2 OWIs in 2020. Is that not correct? That's
Yeah,
what I have here.
2004 and a 2008 OWI.
What mentions, is it 2020 for speeding then?
2020 for speeding, correct. Sorry,
Oh,
the way
I
I have
see.
it labeled, the little two backward slashes is a new offense.
Okay,
2008
I apologize.
PhD.
I
So
read
what's
it as,
what's the consensus of the committee
I
members?
withdraw.
Again,
it's-
Mr. Chair, this is an example of a very dated offense.
I agree.
And I think we need to be mindful of these dated offenses and how we can defend them.
very good.
Yeah.
You hear?
I appreciate that. So let's move on to Church Dustin.
Again, he has 2 OWIs, 06 and 07. And it's currently valid.
So the consensus, I believe we can move on
Yes,
to Day Samantha.
Do you want me to
Attorneys-
detail these, or do you just want to discuss?
Yeah.
Detail them? All right. Ms. Day is suspended. She's a 2015 OWI, a 2018 failure to obey sign or signal, 2018 license not in person, 2018 failure to obey sign or signal, and operating while suspended, and 2019 license not in person. She has disorderly conduct in 06, a operating after revocation misdemeanor in 2009, and obstructing in 2013. That appears to be the same information that is reflected on CCAP.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I do have a question for Attorney Serwin on this. Now, looking at this sight unseen, I'd say, okay, there's habitual offenses here, and that would directly relate to the license activity. Can you give us some guidance on this, if
Sure.
that would be something that would be appropriate and defendable?
Yes, I think it would be, even if it's even if it's habitual criminality, it still has to substantially relate. But we do have the 2015 OWI. We have a few operating while suspended, which I think at least there's a differing opinion on that one, but at least it's related to a license. And so I can make the argument. And then we also have the resisting or obstructing in 2013, which I think shows a unwillingness to cooperate with police department, which we frequently ask our licensees to do. And so I think I have the arguments there if the committee wants to proceed in that capacity. I certainly think there could be an argument also that these may or may not substantially relate. I can defend this one if the committee thinks it's appropriate.
Okay, and that my question on that is kind of as an example too, because when you relate this to the fact that she doesn't have a valid driver's license, the chances of that rehabilitation were not successful, and she's continuing on by driving without a license or after suspension. So I would warrant this as something to be a soft denial, just in discussion, of course.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, there was an habitual charge, situation that she really been involved, and to me, there's a pattern that this person, she's not really, a stable individual. I mean, she could react anytime, I believe. So I don't think we need somebody who must tell us like that. So because based on the pattern of her situations, to me, I feel we should really deny
Mr.
that.
Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
she definitely has a pattern of irresponsibility.
Yes,
So I would
yes.
agree with both of you.
I agree, yes. So let's move the one that we have to vote on it.
No, there's no vote right now. We can
No
just
vote
move
right
on
now,
to
that's right.
Lawrence.
Okay. So we're done with Lawrence and Brian already, we're done. Let's go to a new Jessica.
We're done with Brian Lawrence, and that's fine with me. Is there any other discussion on that one?
I think we talked about that.
All right.
briefly, right?
Not
Yeah, I
for
think
me.
it's fine.
Jessica New is valid. Do you want me to go through her convictions? She's operate while suspended in 2016, operate while suspended in 2016, operate while suspended, and no driver's license on person in 2016. 2017 defective speedometer and no license on person. 18 operate while suspended and seatbelt violation. 19 operate while suspended. 19 speeding. She also has a disorderly conduct ticket in 2011. She is valid.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we have anything really that related to the license, liquor license, bartender license, and I think.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
I have a question for Attorney Serwin on this one. Being there's lengthy operating after suspension, I know you can't maybe look at that affecting how it relates to the license, but I think in this instance, it would be something under habitual that she's obviously not making good choices. And I would look at, are you making the appropriate choices when serving alcohol to people? That's where this gray line comes in for me. Because there is quite lengthy record when it comes to breaking the law if you're driving without a license or under suspension, but there's not an OWI. So OWI seem to trip kind of everybody on the council to say, hey, I need you to come in. But in this instance, she has 4 or 5 different charges of continuous operating after suspension, which
Right.
would flag me that you're not making really good choices when it comes to serving alcohol, showing responsibility.
And if that's the route the committee wants to go, I can try to defend that. There's no problem in trying to defend that, or if that's the committee's position on it. I would note that she may have reinstated, because at least the information I have now is that she is valid. And so this isn't an OWI initiated suspension. It sounds like it was a points violation or maybe an accident that caused it. And whether she has now gotten those points back or paid those violations, whatever it might be, it appears she's now valid for whatever use that has to the committee.
All right. Thank you for answering, because this kind of gives me a little bit more guidance as we're going along. So maybe just kind of a learning curve here in asking these questions so we know how to proceed in the future.
Okay, great. Any other members of the committee has any additional questions? So no questions. So we move on to Roth Jody.
Jody Routh has a 1997 misdemeanor theft, 1998 THC ticket, 1999 obstructing ticket. No other violations that I'm aware of.
So I believe we can just move forward with that one.
Yep.
All right. And Giovanni Walls has a 2020 OWI. I was unable to, that was from the police department. I was unable to confirm anything else about that. I didn't see it on CCAP. I'm not sure anything else about it. A 2014 false alarm ticket, 2017 trespass to land and retail theft, and then a 2020 pending criminal violation which is an exempt violent offense against a child. So we can consider that even though it is not a conviction, because it is one of those, if it does substantially relate to the licensed activity.
Mr.
So-
Chair,
Yes, all question.
again, Attorney Serwin, I was confused at how that was listed with the OWI. So there was a charge, a confirmed charge of it, or there's not?
I can't confirm there was a conviction yet. It was reported on the DOT notes. I would expect to see it elsewhere if it did exist. I think we can consider it as valid because the police department reported it to us. So yes, I think we can consider that.
Okay, all right. So that would warrant bringing him in, especially this very recent charge, in my opinion.
Yes, we should. Cool, let's move on now to, there were two more items that, that's 210014, Police Department report involving Stalling Wood, 6827 West National Avenue, Stalling Wood LLC, Robert L. Anderson, agent, incident dates, November 7, 2020, November 23rd, 2020, November 14, 2020, and November 27, 2020.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I believe I was the one who asked that Stally would be brought in because I had some concerns. However, I would like to ask Nick to kind of guide us on this because I spoke with him today about it.
yes.
And if you could just enlighten us,
Sure.
Attorney Serwin.
Very briefly, there's gonna be two tracks that we can take on anybody. One is gonna be calling them in to kind of give them a stern talking to, but if we do that, we're likely waiving the ability to proceed against them on a licensing issue for those incidents. Okay. The other track would be you can tell me or ask for a license or a summons a complaint, and we can proceed in that formal proceeding. There's not going to be that gray area where we get to kind of like wag our finger at somebody in front of License and Health. Whether I can do that or an older person in the committee wants to reach out and say, hey, there's been problems, get your act together. I don't think it can't be part of the formal process here is what I'm saying in terms if we want to use that going forward. I can tell the committee that I did reach out to Sally Wood, and I don't want to divulge too much information because it's kind of personal what's going on over there. But there was a family tragedy, we'll say, related to the business. He's not going to be operating for the foreseeable future, he indicated. When this did happen, he had recently moved out of the establishment. There was problems, and so he hired a security guard. He's looking to get out of the business at this point. It's not going to be open for the foreseeable future. I did warn him that he has to operate in order to continue his license, or he might be violating that going forward. But he's not looking to keep going right now.
Thank you,
So that-
Attorney Serwin. On that note, would I then need to withdraw?
I think we would just place this on file and not have any further discussion on it when it gets to the point when we can actually do that. If something continues, I will keep an eye at this location and I can do a summons a complaint and bring that forward.
Okay, I'd like to do that. Thank you.
Okay.
So we're gonna place on file this.
You would like to have a summons complaint, or you'd like?
No, I'm sorry. I should be clear when I'm speaking. I would like to place it on file.
Place on file,
I'd like
right?
to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll
Good.
second.
It'll be
We're
like,
not voting right this
Not
minute.
voting, no.
Oh.
So let's move on to item 2021 and 0021, discussions on ordinance 0-2020-0014, pass it on May 5th, 2020, amending section 9.02, 21A and B on Dallas Municipal Code relating reduction of fees for Class B alcohol license, Class B beer reduced from 100 to 50, and Class B liquor license reduced from 500 to 250.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
If I may just state my opinion here forward, I did vote yes when that was approved last time around. I'm not in favor of continuing that forward at this time. I think one of my strong points is this is a particular business or profession that is getting this particular break. We already did approve that, but I can't in good conscience, knowing that we had a 3% raise in increase in taxes, that we can offer that at this time. I think we're all moving forward and we need to look at that. I know there's been an economic impact to businesses. I support small businesses, but that's like saying, okay, I can justify voting yes and raising everybody's taxes, but yet give breaks to, a bar or restaurant on their taxes, where other people are picking up the cost of that then. So that's my opinion on it for discussion.
But Alderperson Christian, I believe the increase of the 3% on everybody and ourselves probably increased. I don't think it was really, I mean, just like anything, I believe he has some effect in reference of the some of those businesses that we give their reductions. But I do feel that I don't think it really give a critical impact in the percentage of our taxes. Our taxes was based on, in general, I mean, it's more cost. Like I say, I mean, you mentioned about wage increases, insurance cost is more, and everything else. So it's nobody's fault, I mean, that's the way it is. But the fact that is, a lot of those businesses really, and I know many of them, they're really suffering right now, I mean, still they pay, if they own the property, they still pay property taxes, but their business is not the way it used to be, I think it's kind of, so the way I felt myself, really, maybe we should give them a little more help, maybe until the next renewal, I don't know if it's in June, or let's see how this pandemic will follow, if it will disappear. I hope it does, and things go back to normal, but right now I believe many of those small taverns operators, I think, they to me, they're really happy with that, because, we give them some credit. I think that, we're not doing anything to really help our tax base. I mean, would help, just like we did with the people parking overnight in the streets, and we did lift that ruling, that ordinance for a time.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I just wanted to mention that the people that would be benefiting from this at this time would be any new applications, as the existing licensees have their licenses through June 30th. And if any change were need to, if anyone would like a change to be made, they would have to ask the attorney's office to draft an ordinance to change this. So I'm not sure how much discussion the committee wants tonight. Certainly, that's up to the committee, but a subsequent license and health meeting could have additional conversation if there was some legislation for the committee to consider at that time.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
In reply to Ms. Grill, what is our timeline on having to do that, for one? And if we do not do that, how is it handled here forward? Does it just continue?
There's no end date to the ordinance. So we will be sending out renewal applications in April. So if there were going to be some type of change, it would be helpful administratively to know that in advance of that time. Certainly we could accommodate it up till July 1st, but it will just add additional administrative burden.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Rebecca, if you can answer for me questions, how many really at this time, I mean, a new applicant really we have for the liquor license and on and on. I mean, really new people that really they come forward to open up a new establishment. And I know there's probably one or two.
Well, you had one today.
Yes.
So I'd have to go through the applications, but it's yes, it is minimal. I mean, in this economy, it is a challenge to open businesses.
Yes. So that's my question. So again, it's up to the council, to the committee, what they want to do with that, to let it linger until further time that we like to bring back to committee for discussions, make changes, go back to normal, the regular charges. Again, that's up to the committee. I'm the only one to decide that. So we all are here to what we want to do with that. So,
Mr. Chair,
yes, Alderman Road.
I wonder if we should hold this until our next regularly scheduled meeting so we can discuss it a little bit more at length.
I would agree with that, as I'm not in favor of reducing.
Yeah. So
We can have, Mr. Chair, we can have further dialogue on this particular ordinance,
sure,
probably
that'd be
in
fine.
March or April.
Yes.
May I
But-
reply to Alderwoman Ranky? Rebecca had stated that we don't want to put into time constraints on administration if we do plan to change the ordinance going forward. I just wanted to note that if you had not heard that. So I
Yes.
think that if we have additional discussion, it'd be sooner than later.
Well, for what
Well, due to time constraints tonight, I think we should move forward.
I agree. But if
so-
we're going to have additional discussion, I think it should be sooner is all I'm saying.
Because I
Not the
understand,
same.
Mr. Grill, she mentioned that is a time frame. Like I said, for the new applicant, it will be soon, I believe, right, Rebecca? Will be in the next.
Yeah,
February.
it'll be in April, and I
In
can
April,
work
see,
out the
that's-
details with you about rescheduling if you wanted to, and then at this
Sure.
point, you could adjourn the meeting.
Yeah, we'll do that. We can adjourn and I think.
I
we
make a
can-
motion to adjourn.
Second,
Second,